Hi, everybody. Welcome to Queers and Soaps. I'm Tommy, and once again, I'm joined by my lovely co host, Angel.
Hello.
We're back discussing Guiding Late. Today, we're discussing January 14th.
No, 16,
Oh,
17,
sorry,
19.
16th through the
Yeah.
19th, 1995. So I'll roll the credits and we'll jump right into it. So I'm glad they picked up where we left off, literally, because I forgot where we ended, because we're doing the every other week thing. But so Sid was getting arrested in that fancy restaurant.
I think it was Towers.
It's called Towers. Okay.
I think it's actually so. I think that restaurant. If it looks familiar, it looks like Towers, unless Towers happen afterwards, or what they call Top of the Towers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Um, I think it was the same scene, just in a different part. I guess that's where we see Buzz trying to get into the sisters or daughters, whatever it is, of the
Daughters of
American
the
Revolution.
Revolution.
So I guess it's the same restaurant, right? It's just on the other side.
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
Okay.
that's probably what happened.
So Sid's being arrested for allegedly they have evidence that he was the one responsible for the fire on Fifth Street or fires.
There were
Um,
multiple.
and Jilly's just like not having it. She's like, "Tell him you're innocent. I'm coming with you. I'm gonna stand by you." Um, Something I forgot, or maybe I never knew. Jilly and David are brother and sister. Did I know this and I
Yeah,
just forgot it?
yeah. Julie and David are brother and sister.
Okay. So they were supposed to be having dinner with their mother. David's
Hmm.
there with his wife, Gabriella.
Gabriella. Yep. We
Um,
remember her name now because
right.
we keep saying it.
Yeah. I, literally, while I was watching, I was like, Gabriella, like, because I wanted
Gabrielle.
um, so we know now that it was a green card marriage, but last we saw them, they seemed to actually have feelings for each other and they actually
Yep.
slept together.
Hmm.
Um, so David also goes to the police station to see what he could do. Is David a lawyer? Like, what is he?
I forgot. Is he a lawyer? I know he's. I know he's some. I know he has. I know that family. So that family sort of has cachet, which I love about a black family. Like,
Even
um,
Greg was like, "Oh, there's black people on a soap opera." I was like, "Yeah." I was
and they
like, "It
are
was
rich.
integrated
They
in
are
the
rich.
90s."
There are two black families. There's the Speaks and the Grants.
Uh-huh.
So if you remember the Nia Long,
Mhm.
the actress Nia Long, she was on there. She left a little before we started watching. She played Cat Speaks, and then the guy that's with Buzz in these episodes, that's Hamp, her father.
Oh, with Buzz.
Remember that's how, like, remember, like, I think it was like the last episode where he was like, "Yeah, we need like supplies for the thing," and then Buzz was able to get them.
That's
It
not
was like
Jilly's father?
that wasn't Julie's father. I don't think. I
Oh,
think that
because
was Hamp.
see, these episodes are so, like,
No, I think no, not Hamp.
pixelated. They're so
Oh my gosh,
pixelated sometimes, I
he
don't
plays the
know
saxophone. I forgot his name. I think it was Hamp. Hold on. Yeah, Hamp Speaks. Yeah, I'm like, no, duh.
who. Um, so now it's just Gabriella and I her name is Vivian, the mother?
Vivian. Yep.
Which I didn't know until you tweeted the scene, which is so funny because I was like, we'll get to
Yeah,
that
they don't
soon.
mention her name, but I think through like osmosis, I just knew.
You knew it, yeah.
I knew it was her name was Vivian.
Right.
Like I was like, no, it wasn't through osmosis. I looked it up when I was looking up. Oh, who is David? And
Mhm.
then that's how her name popped up.
So we're starting to kind of get um breadcrumbs that Vivian's not really a fan of Gabrielle in this whole situation.
I don't think we are either.
I don't hate her. I don't really know her. Like, I don't.
That's okay.
It's
I
not
know.
like
At least I speak for myself. I don't know, like, especially in the scene that's going to come up.
I mean, she's not an Ariana. Like,
Yeah, she has a very Ariana essence to her.
maybe if I had been dealing with her for months leading up to this, I wouldn't like her. I don't know. She's fine. I don't have a horse in that race. Um, you're like, no, she's not funny. Okay, so
Trying to hold in my
um,
laughter.
it's like a little awkward because it's just the two of them, and Vivian's kind of questioning, when is this marriage going to be over? And Gabriella's like, oh no, like I don't want out of this marriage. Like I really care about him. And Vivian's like, oh no, 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 no,
Oh
not my
no,
son.
not my no, no, not gonna happen. Nope, 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 nope,
So
nope.
Gabriella says goodnight. She goes home. And Vivian makes a phone call. Apparently, she's been snooping or having somebody dig up dirt on Gabriella. And we know while she was like practicing her answers for her INS exam that she used to be a prostitute.
Mm-hmm.
And when they said, "Have you ever been a prostitute?" They went dun dun dun.
Dun, dun, dun. And then the angel version, I was like, oop, oop, oop.
um, but so Buzz is trying to get into the Sisters of the American Revolution or Daughters. I think it might have been Daughters.
I think it was daughters. I think it was
Yeah.
daughters.
To ask for donations to rebuild Fifth Street.
Mm-hmm.
Alexandra tells him he won't get a penny out of those women, and they kind of lurk behind the curtain, and she kind of gives him like all the gossip on every single woman.
The rundown, yes, I love that part. I love that part.
Like shopaholic, he took her credit card away.
Mm-hmm.
This one's cold as ice, like doesn't have a heart. Another one, I don't remember what her deal was. She likes fancy dresses and she likes to like throw events and like show off her dresses.
Events, yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they make a little bet. I thought that I really like these scenes. They were like comedic, even though it was like for a serious thing. It was comedic and I liked it. I'm really loving Alexandra.
Yeah,
She's
I
so
love
extreme. It's funny.
I see. That's the thing. I like both Alexandra. Well, okay. Well, there's three of them, but still, I like both Alexandras. Because remember, there's Joan Collins later, much later.
Did she last long?
No, only like I don't even think she lasted 6 months.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I like Beverly McKenzie. She gets so so over the top and loud, and so does Marge Doucet, but in a different way,
Okay.
in a different way. And I miss Beverly, but I love Marge. R.I.P. to both of them.
So there were moments with Buzz, I can't remember the actor's name, where I laughed because I thought about you saying he would have been a great Luke Spencer recast, and he had some moments where I was like, "Oh, I see it." Yes. Yeah. So they make a bet, and it's if he can get money out of them, she has to double it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember what she gets out of it. Was he that
a date?
A date?
A date, a night on the town.
Which I don't see how that's a win for her. Because he can't afford the places she's used to.
I'm sure she'll just like front him the money, like, here you go.
So he makes his way in there, and she kind of says that he's her guest and he's going to be sitting in, and the women are just like, we don't really have that. And he's standing there and he's trying to like talk to them, and they're just like going along with their meeting, not even acknowledging that he's standing there. Going over the calendar for the month of events that they have to do. And I think what makes him break is one of them talk about a flower, like a rose garden or something. And like, I don't know if it was like in the street or a roundabout. It was something about planting flowers. And he was like, that's what you're spending your money on? He's like, a whole community is out on the street and that's what you want to spend your money on? So he kind of flirts with all of them individually. I thought it was really ballsy that he like once they one by one were giving in and like writing checks, and he basically told them, your friend Alexandra talks shit about you. Like this, like I know you do this. I know you have a shopping problem.
Like, I know this and this happens. I know that happened to you. Yep.
And so I that's kind of how he broke through to them, because then they were
Mhm.
like kind of like, well, I'll show her, like I have a heart, I could be charitable.
Mhm.
um but I thought it was a little bit ballsy. Him, one or two of them, he actually like full on grabbed their face and like made out with them.
Yeah. He kisses I think he kisses two of them on the cheek and then made out with the other two.
Right.
They're
And they're all married.
all married. Yeah.
um and then because he got the checks, he like says to Alexandra, he's like, remember, you have to double it. And I'm like, oh, I hope she has enough money. I'm sure she does. She's a millionaire.
She's a Spalding. Of course, she'll have the money.
um where am I? Who's Fletcher? Fletcher. Oh, Roger begs Holly to forget about the drama they just went through and to go back to 2 weeks ago when he was going to propose to them.
Hmm.
I forgot for a minute that Roger and Holly were on this week. um, they're interrupted by Fletcher, who was kind of watching through the window.
Hmm.
And Fletcher says that they just got like a tip on like a mob hit or something, or
A murder.
a murder, and they need to go report on it right now, right now. And he needs
There you are.
Holly. And Roger's like, can't you just do it on your own? He's like, nope, need it right now, right now.
Right now.
And they get into the car, and Holly kind of like almost immediately realizes that it's like a fake story, and he's just
Hmm.
had to get her away from Roger.
Hmm.
Um, he had said something which I thought was cute, um, where like they were talking about their one night stand or whatever, and he kind of was just like, now I have all these feelings, like like I don't know how to process. Like this wasn't what it was supposed to be, and now like for some reason I care. um
I think this was around the time when Holly and Roger broke up. Like their one night stand was around the time Holly and Roger broke up because she thought he slept with Alexandra,
mhm,
who Alexandra is Roger's ex-wife. So, but
right.
at the time, she was played by Beverly McKenzie. So,
Oh, is this fairly early in Marge's run as Alexandra?
I remember that Beverly McKenzie leaving kind of coincided a little bit with Maureen dying.
Okay.
So it would have. So I think it would have been. I think this is early in her run, but not like too early. Because like Beverly's Alexandra and Roger were married like maybe in the early '90s, and then they broke up because he had an affair with Melinda.
Really?
Yep.
um we saw HB this week, and
Yes.
my first thought was, you're so old. And hear me out, I'm not being ageist, but I'm just thinking, okay, this is 1995 and he's the age that he is. Maybe what, 10 years prior to that, he was married to Riva, and I was like, he was still
Hmm.
so old for her to be married to him.
Yeah.
Did she love him, or was this like a Brooke Logan, I'm gonna get you, like I'm gonna marry you
I
now?
feel like this was a Brooke Logan. I'm gonna get you, but predating Brooke Logan, of course,
Yeah.
because yeah.
Huh. Yeah, so we saw HB. I've never seen him ever. Um, and he comes to Lewis Oil
Hmm.
and finds Vanessa and Mindy like fielding phone calls about the scandal that has been printed
Scandal at
of
all.
Vanessa and Matt being lovers.
Hmm. Which I
Um,
don't think that'll be a big deal today, but it's 1995. Just we'll roll with it.
right. So I guess board members or
Yeah, I think they're board members.
come, and they kind of want Vanessa removed from the company.
Hmm.
And I love the scene because she stood up for herself, and she was like,
Hmm.
well, she's like, you're married to somebody like 10 years younger than you, and nobody says anything. She's like, why is it different because I'm a woman? And
Hmm.
I love that. And I also feel like HB was kind of taking that in and processing it.
Yeah.
Um, there was a woman board member, and I like that she was like, you're just jealous.
Just jealous.
So yeah, that was a good scene. I really like love. I'm liking the women on the show. Like I like
Mhm,
Vanessa, I like Alexandra, I like Holly.
mhm,
I just like how like well-rounded and like strong they are,
mhm.
and they have careers. They stand
Yeah,
up for
I'm, like,
themselves.
wondering who's writing it this time, and it's not Jill Farrenfeld because she's only executive producing it,
Mhm.
but I'm wondering who's writing at this point because, like, the
Oh, and
characters
now Vivian, I like her because now I know her name.
yeah, the characters are all just so strong, they're, like,
Yeah.
very strong, I'm just wondering, like, who's the writer this time because you know, if in case you didn't notice or if you're following along, these episodes don't have credits, so, unless you, like, kinda track down the individual credits on YouTube or something like that, you can't find them, so
Yeah. I actually didn't really notice that. I think I recently noticed it because, like, it just started the next episode
mhm.
without the end credit. Usually it's like, um, wardrobe provided by, like, Saks Fifth Avenue or something.
Yes, 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 that's classic
I remember
shit.
hearing that, I was like, "Oh, they could afford Saks back then."
What is the oh my god, what's the popular one that everybody quotes? Wait a minute. Swarovski
I
jewelry.
was I didn't wanna hear things. I'm like, "How did things go so bad so fast?"
Oh my gosh.
Um, Bridget doesn't think that she and Vanessa will make up. She says the only one she can count on is Peter. He'll never let her down. I'm like, don't make bold statements like that.
Don't
He's
make
only a
both statements,
child. He has a whole life to live."
right?
So, okay, I don't understand the relationship.
Okay.
Who is this child to Vanessa that she loves him so much? And obviously, this is Bridget's son.
Yeah. So let me see if I can like because I don't fully understand it either. I
Who's
know
the
that
father?
Peter
Dylan?
well, fodder has yet to be seen.
Oh, okay.
I believe it's actually, I believe it's does he come in yet?
So it's not
It
Dylan.
okay, so spoiler warning, the fodder is, Roger's son, Hart. If you're
Oh,
Frank Grillo's character, if you remember
I know the
him?
name. I don't think I know the face.
Yeah, so there's 2 Harts prior to Frank Grillo. I'm not sure if he's on the show right now. I don't see him in the credits. I don't see any sign of Hart. But I think Frank Grillo comes in later, a little later this year, because I know it's around the time, and we do get oh my god, what is Gina Tognoli's character's name?
Oh,
Dinah. We do get
China.
well, but it's Wendy Moniz at this
Yeah.
point. We do get Dinah this year, so
Okay. Um, but who is the child to Vanessa? Was like Vanessa with Hart,
so
and she
see
was like a
that's the
stepmom.
thing. That's the thing I don't fully understand. I know Bridget was. I know I've seen footage of Bridget in the attic, pregnant with Peter. I
Okay.
don't know why she's in the attic. I don't know. Like I don't know why she's in that. I think what happened is that like somebody locked her in the attic and with the intention of giving the baby of adopting the baby to Vanessa. But then I think Bridget wanted to keep the baby,
Hmm.
so they both are raising Peter. But then later on, it's kind of like Vanessa's kind of faded out. I don't know. I don't know fully because
Yeah.
and then when I
It was-
started watching in 1977, Bridget wasn't even on the show.
Yeah.
Vanessa didn't mention Peter, so
I hate when that happens.
yeah.
Um, yeah, because like one of the first things that happened when Bridget found out about Vanessa and Matt was she basically was like, "Well, you're not going to be able to see Peter," and she was like devastated by that. And I'm like, "But like, who is Peter to you? Like, why
Yeah,
do you
because
care so much?"
Peter was because Bridget was clearly pregnant with Peter when I saw the footage. But I don't know. Not Vanessa. Bridget was clearly pregnant with Peter when I saw the footage, so I know that Matt is his uncle, Peter's uncle, because Bridget and Matt are brother and sister.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, that I know. All right. Well, maybe it'll come out in dialogue as we're
Yeah,
watching.
I'm sure. I'm sure it will. Whoever's writing it is doing it. It's like they're gonna. I'm sure they're gonna like reiterate it at some point.
Holly finds Roger asleep on the couch in his office because when she went on the fake mob story with Fletcher, he like waited around in her office and she never returned. Um, Jilly comes in and she vows to clear Sid's name, and she even if she has to use like the station's like resources to do it. And Roger's like, "Good for you. Do what you got to do." I like that. I like that he was supportive of
I
her.
like a supportiveness.
I guess they're friends as well as coworkers.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm guessing that too.
uh, Roger pays Fletcher a visit and blames him for Holly's confusion.
Hmm.
He's like, "I don't know what's going on here." He's like, "But all I know is that you keep inserting yourself, and I don't like it. So just leave her alone." And then with a conversation with Nick, Fletcher kind of like blurts out that he's in love with Holly. So that goes back to like, I don't know what these feelings are.
All these feelings are.
um, Alan Michael is moving out of the mansion, his Alan's house.
Hmm.
And Alan pleads with him to stay and forgive him, but Alan Michael is not responsive to it. And Alan Sr. wonders if he makes Alan Michael president of Spalding, if that will make him come around. And Alan Michael's just kind of like, I've been hearing this for years. Like, I'll believe it when I see it.
Mm.
So then Alan takes Alexandra on a plane ride to Paris, allegedly, for dinner.
Paris quotes.
And he asks her if they could make Alan Michael president. And she kind of like immediately agrees. Now, I didn't know, I picked it up through the dialogue and what went on after this, but I didn't know that she thought he was dying. I like thought that was just something that like
Yeah.
Tangy and like Roger and Holly, like I thought that was like a separate thing. I didn't know that like his sister thought that he was
Mm.
dying. So she's very emotional and she's just trying to like, spend his last moments with his last moments with him. Am I not saying it right? I feel like words aren't.
Her last moments
He's
with
trying
her.
to spend as much time with him before he dies.
Yeah, that makes
That's what
sense.
I'm
Yes.
trying to say. So she's very responsive. She's like, yes, whatever you want. Like, he's like, you just have to sign the paper. She's like, okay, I'll do it. She does. And then he's like, I have wonderful news after she signs the paper. He's like, I'm not dying.
And she goes ballistic.
Yes, and I loved it. I loved it. I loved it so much because one of my favorite things, even in real life, is to see like sibling dynamics.
Hmm.
I love just like people watching, and like I do it with Greg all the time and his siblings. It's very interesting to watch adults still kind of like
Hmm.
bicker like children. It's like you regress with certain, like with your siblings, you regress back to
Hmm.
that like catty, like petty, like well, I'm mom's favorite.
I remember like a talk I had with my older sister yesterday. I was like, hey, hey, and then she's like, what? I'm like, the bill came in. And then all I wanted to do was let her know, like, hey, the bill came in. What's the amount of the bill? And she was not having it.
See, I have siblings, but I'm 9 years older, so I
Hmm.
kind of feel like I was an only child because I didn't have that like bickering, like
Hmm.
we just were in different age groups.
Hmm.
So I didn't really have that dynamic. So for all intents and purposes, I grew up an only child. um, so her first reaction is she didn't. I don't think she slapped him. She punched him.
She punched him, yeah. And I rewound that a few times. That was good, really good.
Because at first she's like, "Oh my god, you're dying. What happened? Like, it's a miracle. Like, were they wrong? Was there a cure? Like, were you misdiagnosed?" Like, and
Mhm.
she's hugging him, and then she kind of realizes this is my brother. I know him, and she looks at him. She was like, "You were never dying," and then she just like swings.
Wing, boom.
It was so funny, and I'm thinking, all this is happening on a private jet. They were wrestling.
Oh yeah. And
It
as
was
it was
just so funny
circling
to
around
watch.
Springfield, you could see it like like turbulence on it.
And they're just like rehashing every fight they've ever had or every like sibling issue they ever had since they were kids.
Mm.
And how they always used to lie to each other, and that they used to have rankings or categories for their lie.
Mhm.
So he was like, "It's not as bad as like the other lies I've told." He's like, "Can't we just like move on?" So eventually, they bond over this, and she still agrees that Alan Michael, can be president.
Mhm.
Um, so then, where am I? Oh, I put Nick as Alexandra's son. I didn't know this.
Yeah, I thought I explained it before, but I'll explain it again.
You may
Uh,
have, because it did sound slightly familiar.
yeah, so, you remember okay, so you remember the character Lou Jack.
Yes.
Nick is Lou Jack's twin.
So Lujak is Alexandra's son also.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Is their father around?
I don't I don't remember how he if he played a role in the show at all, or I don't know for sure if he plays a role in the show at all.
Uh, Lucy is freaking out at Spalding because Alexandra's not there. She's trying to close the deal. Nick and Alan Michael are there. Um,
Mhm.
Alan Michael, I think he was like packing up his stuff because he's done. He's just like, pretty much quitting at this point.
Yeah, yeah.
Nick doesn't want anything to do with it. He doesn't want to help her, and she like begs Alan Michael to help her close this deal.
Mhm.
They do, and Alan Michael's a little bit spiteful, and he like pops open a bottle of champagne that's somebody was saving. I don't know if it was Alan or Alexandra, one of them.
Mm.
And they're drinking, commiserating. They start playing music. I didn't really recognize the music. I was like, "Is this real? Did you pay for this?"
Yeah, I think sometimes they have to put budget in to
Yeah,
some things and not into other things.
yeah.
Unfortunately, we don't get that era until later where they actually play music. Music. So.
Um, and they end up like they get a little buzzed or drunk,
Mhm.
and they end up dancing. I think it was on Alexandra's desk,
Yes.
and of course, this is happening. Alan and Alexandra walk in to see them standing on her desk.
Mhm.
um, David and Gabriella are decorating their apartment, and
On.
it made me think. I was like, do people still wallpaper like that? I'm just like, I never want
Mm,
to do that. That looks
I
horrible.
don't know. See, it's all paint or leave it white for me, so
Yeah,
or just decorate it and make it cool.
I never want to wallpaper ever because that looked
Mm-mm.
horrible, and the way it ripped because it got that sounds
Yeah.
awful. um, what else happened? Oh, so David goes to get more supplies, I guess.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
Alex,
and and then there was a part with a mirror,
oh,
and
the
like the
mirror
mirror
broke.
broke with the mirror broke, and yeah.
I mean,
But
I saw that coming a mile away when they were like, "Help me move this," and
yeah,
then they
me
like
too.
moved it all like flimsy. I'm like, "You're not even holding it right. Of course it's gonna fall."
Where's it look fall? Yeah.
um, so he leaves, and his mother Vivian shows up, and this was an amazing scene. You
Oh,
posted
yes,
it
it
on
was.
Twitter. She basically was like, "You ain't shit. I know you were a hooker." She doesn't flat out say that, but she knows.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I was eating this up like candy.
She's like, "You're gonna leave my son. You're gonna leave my son." She's like, "Or I'm gonna tell him."
Hmm.
And she offers her a check to leave, and Gabriella stands her ground, and she's like, "I'm not taking that money." And she's like, "Don't you just want to see how much it, I think you're worth?" And she takes it. Does she rip? No, she doesn't rip it. She takes it, or she throws it, or she gives it back to her. And
Yeah,
she's
she
just
gives it back.
like, "Don't you want to counter offer to see like how high I'm willing to go?" And I was like, I love her. I've seen this
I
scenario so
love
many times
this.
before, but I love her. Um, and when Gabrielle has her back turned, she kind of slipped it. I don't know if it was in the pocket of a jacket, but she left the check there.
Mm.
And I wasn't sure if it. we were supposed to think Gabrielle didn't know that it was there, and David was gonna find it and be like, "Why do you have a check from my mom from this much money?" And there was gonna be all this drama, like, how could you accept money from my mom? But when we next see the apartment, Gabrielle's gone. A can of paint is tipped over, and David can't find her anywhere. So I don't know if we're supposed to think. I just keep thinking that you say she doesn't last long. I'm like, is this it? Is she gone? Where they're like, yeah, we'll just wrap this up, and she's gone.
We don't know if it's INS. We don't know if it's Vivian's.
Yeah, because we did see those agents that were at New Year's that were questioning them. That one agent still looks familiar. The one with the beard. I've definitely seen him in things.
He said, "Hey, it's that guy."
Yeah, he's a hey, it's that guy. Sid is at the police station, and he will not speak. He must be a lawyer, right?
Sid is a lawyer. Yep.
Because he said he was going to represent himself.
Yeah, which I don't agree with. Because there's a quote. Was it even a man who represents something about a fool representing yourself or something?
Holly is still vowing to like stand by his side, and I'm really like. I said Holly, Jilly.
Yeah, so Holly, yeah, Jilly.
I don't know why he's being so cagey. Part of me is like, yeah, keep your mouth shut. Don't like answer any questions unless you have a lawyer, but you don't want a lawyer. So now I'm like, are you just not saying anything until you get into the courtroom? I'm like, I don't understand what the secrecy is. Like, I want him to be good. I don't want him to be responsible for the
fire. I wonder if he knows who did it, and that's why he's like, and he's protecting that person.
Do you think if he knows who did it and he's protecting them, it's because they are somehow connected to like Jilly and he doesn't want her to get hurt?
Or maybe they're connected to Sid.
Or Sid?
Yeah, maybe they're connected to Sid in some way.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I feel like we saw a quick thing of Holly. She keeps having flashbacks to the desk sex. So because she's like having conflicting feelings over the proposal from Roger, I feel like she's starting to think, oh, now I have feelings for Fletcher. We didn't see Joshua or Annie this week, which is funny because they were the reason why we started this.
Yes.
Who else didn't we see?
Josh was mentioned that HB was going to go to the hospital and see him.
Yes. Original Eleni's back. So
yay!
And so there was a character I haven't seen, and I was really, really listening hard. Her name was Nadine.
Nadine, yep.
And she was freaking out because all her stuff was burnt, and Buzz thought he did a good thing by like gathering it in a box, and she was just like, she said Harley gave me that brush, so I'm assuming she's Harley's mom.
Yeah, so not HB, wow. Buzz and Nadine, they were married at some point.
Okay.
And Frank and Harley is, mom and dad. So
okay.
Frank and Harley is Buzz. Frank and Harley are, the sibling. I mean, not siblings. Wow. Look at me with my family stuff. Frank and Harley are the daughter and son of Buzz and Nadine.
Buzz. And Lucy's from a different relationship.
Lucy's from a different relationship from Buzz's side.
Yeah. Okay.
And there is another child.
There is.
So when I watched the 1994 Christmas special, Jenna gave birth. So Buzz and Jenna. I'm sure you know Buzz and Jenna. Mm-hmm. Jenna gave birth to Henry.
Oh.
And he doesn't know he exists.
In 1995, he doesn't
1994.
know. Oh, okay.
Late 1994, yep.
Oh, okay.
So he doesn't come back around until 1997. Or late 1996, 1997.
When you started watching?
When I started watching, yep. When I started watching, that was the whole
drama.
Coop came in.
So when you started watching, was Laura Wright on yet, or you
Not
saw her
yet.
come
When
on?
I started watching, it was like kind of because Laura Wright was after the whole was after the trial of Annie and Riva.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Um. So they come up with a plan that Buzz, Nadine, Elaney, and Frank, and what's the kid's name? The daughter?
Marina, Marina.
Marina are all going to live upstairs together while construction
It's
is
gonna be a
happening.
full house.
Yes. It's going to be very, very tight. I hope they have more than one bathroom. They probably don't.
Mhm. Probably don't.
Why am I always so obsessed with the plumbing? That's always the first thing I think of. Is there a bathroom?
I know later I know later Buzz lives in like the firehouse
Does
or
he?
something like that. Yeah, he lives like above the firehouse or something like that. So because I remember like the
Does stuff like
exterior
that
shot.
actually happen?
Huh?
Does stuff like that actually happen? Do people live above
I don't
firehouses?
know.
I feel like that's not a thing.
I feel like that's not a thing either. Though there's like a fire. I remember seeing like was a exterior shot of like a firehouse, and
Hmm.
then like it zooms in on the top of the fire.
Maybe we're supposed to just suspend disbelief and
Yeah.
think of it as like a small town and stuff
Hmm.
like that happens.
Like Genoa City, it's a small town with but like with big buildings and stuff like that.
Um, so Jilly, I don't know if Jilly posted bail, but Sid ends up getting out. Well, he can go home until his court date, pretty much.
Hmm.
Um, so okay, I don't know if you know what this is because I couldn't see it because it was so pixelated.
Hmm.
But they start to make love, and the camera pans to her. I think it was her jacket, and I couldn't see what they were like focusing on.
Yeah, it did like the same like boop that that with Gabriella. And I rewound it, kept rewinding it, seeing what it was, and I couldn't figure out what it was. Maybe it was a burn mark. I don't know.
Oh, maybe. Oh, so I'm like, I don't know what to say. I'm like a camera. I'm like, it can't be a camera. Why would
I know
she
it was
be
a
recording
coat.
it?
Yeah, I know it was a coat, but I saw like something
Like soot or
small,
something?
like something small, and
Hmm. Yeah, I'm like, they're showing us that for a reason.
yeah,
I don't know what I'm looking at.
I'm like okay, hey, what am I looking at? Hey, 1975. Can you come back with clearer quality? And
Right. Um, they had a nice love scene. I thought it was gonna be
they
another
did.
like Vanessa and Matt, like they were just gonna be making love the whole episode.
That's what I miss on soap operas. I miss good old fashioned making love. Like they don't do that. They don't do that anymore.
Yeah. um, so yeah, I don't know. I think that was it. I think I covered everything. Oh no, I didn't even get to like the good part. Well, one of the good parts. So Alan offers Alan Michael the president of the company position.
Hmm.
Um, he does this in private. Alexandra and Lucy go outside the office,
Hmm.
and he's like, "Well, I don't think Alexandra's going to agree with this." And he's like, "She already did. She signed off on it." Lucy assumes she's fired because she's dancing on with us. She's like, "I'll pack my things. I'll just go."
I'll pack my things. I'll just go.
Meanwhile, she keeps hiccuping because she's drunk, and she's like, "Why do you keep hiccuping?" And she's like, "I get the hiccups when I'm nervous." So they don't know that they were drinking. um, and initially, they say that Alan Michael is going to be president, but Alan Senior and Alexandra, I almost called her
Alexandra.
Vanessa, um, are going to be on the board and co-CEOs.
Mm,
So Alan's not really going for that.
hmm.
So then they come back with a counter offer where they would just be on the board and be like chairman.
Uh-huh.
Um, and so they basically would only have the power to sway the board to fire him if he doesn't do right by the company.
Yeah.
So he decides that that's an agreeable situation, and so he's now the president of Spalding.
Yay.
Yay. I love seeing Rick Hurst.
And I like that he mentioned that like that like every time I get my due, like I'm like, basically Philip or Nick goes ahead
Mm,
of him and stuff, like goes ahead of him, even though he's like basically a natural Spalding too. So
yeah.
actually he is a natural Spalding because Philip is adopted. So
Oh, I didn't know
yes,
that.
Philip is actually a Marler, so he's related to Ross. So but he
Oh.
was raised to be like a Spalding. So
Little tidbits, little side things that were happening. Blake is still, on the case trying to solve who
mhm,
lit the fires. She's kind of like in cahoots with Nick, or she's following him around to see what he knows.
mhm,
He met with what looked like a homeless man, um, who may have been a witness to
mhm.
what happened. And he pays him and he says, use it for something good. Not, I guess he was trying to insinuate not for alcohol
Yeah.
or drugs. Um, He was a little bit rude to Buzz because Buzz was like, "Oh, do you need shelter? You need help?" And he's like, "What makes you think I need help?" um, I think we saw Mindy.
We saw
Well, we saw
Mindy
we
with
saw Mindy
Nick
at Lewis. Yeah,
at Lewis Oil, and then we
yeah.
saw her with Nick.
I love seeing Barbara Crampton. Every time I see her face, I'm just like, "Oh, hey, girl."
Yes, I do like her.
But I feel like she's not going to be on much longer because I think she leaves in '95.
Yeah. A lot of people do now because I looked at like a cast list and I'm like, oh, the first half of 95 is different from the second half of 95.
I wonder if
So
there was like behind the scenes, like if the EP changed, and
I think JFP leaves at this point too.
so they must
I think they
have
were
a
kind
different
of
vision for the direction of the show.
transition away. Tangi leaves too, so
Yeah. Gabriella
because
leaves.
she wasn't a popular character. I think they were trying to recreate the character of Holly. I'm not Holly, Harley.
Okay.
Second time we've done this episode, confusing one character with Holly. But anyway, but I think they tried to like recreate the character of Harley with her, and it didn't work.
So I know Riva comes back in either like late April or like early May,
Hmm.
but I saw clips labeled from like December of '95 that was like Riva's
Hmm.
return. I'm like, all those months? I thought she was just gonna show up and be like, "Hey, bitches, I'm back," like, and just
Well,
like
no,
start causing
she's
drama.
a ghost. I think she's a ghost at a certain point in the
Oh,
early part of 95.
oh,
And then when she officially returns, that's December 95.
oh. So we have a long way to go.
You got a long way to go.
All right, I'm here
Actually, not
for
really. If we want to, if we're amping up for Reva's ghost, we got some time.
it. All right. Well, I'm here for the journey, so I'm excited. Did I forget anything? Was there anything you wanted to mention?
Was there? Oh, Mindy and it looks like that Mindy and Nick might be getting back together from those like clips. Like, but something
Hmm.
keeps like pulling them away.
Right. That was something that like, we got like a little taste of at the New
Hmm.
Year's party that they were kind of on the outs
Yeah.
because she was kind of like stay away from me or whatever, and I was like,
Hmm.
oh, what's happening there? But I was so distracted by her being Leanna Love. I'm like, wait, and I had to like look it up that I wasn't
And
really
then
invested
she
in
was with the cop Patrick Cutter, which I'm like, oh, it's Cutter. I was like,
that.
wait, that's who she was with? Because
Yeah,
I know that there was a character named Cutter, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, I don't care about this character. I care about Mindy because Mindy's Lewis, and she's
yeah,
Josh's cousin. Yeah,
yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for joining us for another edition of Guiding Light and Queers and Soaps. As always, you can find us on all the socials at Queers and Soaps. Until next time, have a great day. Bye.
bye.